Hi friends, welcome back or welcome to the channel if you're joining us for the first time. So in today's video, I want to share with you a few of my fall favorite sewing patterns. So these are sewing patterns that I use to transition from summer to fall. And if you're like me, you love sewing throughout the fall season. I've mentioned this many times on the channel, and you will definitely see more content from me throughout the remainder of fall, because I absolutely love sewing throughout fall. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and share with you my list of fall favorites, and also I will share with you some recommendations as well. So the patterns that I recommend are not patterns that I have actually sewn. However, these are patterns that I actually want to sew. So I have two lists here, my fall favorites and also fall recommendations. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into today's video, and let's take a look at some of these beautiful sewing patterns that we can use to transition from summer to fall. So throughout the video, I'll share with you how you can create different looks, including fall 2024 sewing trend looks, fashion trends, as well as some inspired Pinterest looks and things of that nature. So I'll put an overlay throughout the video and you'll see the different looks as I am talking about the patterns. And I'll also share with you some of the fabrics that I intend to sew with some of these patterns as well. So let's go ahead and kick off the video with one of my absolute favorite patterns. This is the Simplicity 8655. This is a Mimi G pattern, and I've made it many times. So it has two different patterns within the envelope, but the one that I sewed the most is the cover up. So you have a cover up with a pair of pants, and you have two different styles of pants. You have a bell pant and a regular straight leg, kind of like almost like a capri pant as well. I absolutely love the cover up. If you want something that's easy to sew and you want to gradually get into sewing for fall, this would be a perfect pattern. The cover up is very simple and easy to sew. You don't have any bias binding or facings or anything like that. You are just basically turning your fabric inward to create like a self band, if you will, and stitching down the ties as well as the neckline. And it's just so simple and easy to sew. You only have about 3 pattern pieces, I believe. So you have the front, the back, and you also have a lower sleeve. The sleeve is a drop shoulder sleeve, but you have a lower sleeve that you're attaching to that drop shoulder, but it's so super easy to attach that lower sleeve because you're not setting in a sleeve or doing anything like that. So it's so simple, easy to sew. I would say it's maybe a 2-hour project, if that. And I have sewn this many times. I'll try to include a few variations that I have made with this. We have 2 groups of sizes, and you can get this in 6 to 14 and 16 to 24. And I can tell you, based on my experience sewing the pattern, it doesn't run large, but I would say you can definitely size it down. So if you are someone who like semi-loose styles, you definitely can get away with going a size or 2 down because it offers a lot of room. So I definitely would say that size 24 would be somewhat equivalent to a 2XL or a 3XL because it has quite a bit of room that you can work with the pattern. Next, I would recommend the Simplicity 9716. So this is S9716, come in sizes 4 to 12 and 12 to 20, but you also get a plus size pattern with this as well, which I believe is 20W to 28W and 30W to 38W. So you have two different patterns and two separate groups of patterns and different sizes as well that you can choose from. So this is an easy to sew pattern that include a cover up as well. You can definitely use this as a transitional piece, as well as if you still want to make halter tops or any type of sleeveless tops. You can definitely use this and then also use your cover up with it as well. this pattern called for knit fabrics only, and so you will be using knit fabrics. And then you do have, like I said, bonus patterns. You have your knit top, and then you also have a knit skirt that you can use as well. Each one of those patterns, I feel like would take anywhere between an hour to 2 hours to sew. So it's so simple, easy. And again, if you want something that's with a knit, I would choose this. The Mimi G pattern is an excellent pattern, but you cannot use a knit for it. If you want something that you want to use a knit for, I would definitely say this Simplicity S9716 pattern. So the next pattern is a Butterick pattern, and you have Mrs. Jacket, camisole, and pants. So I absolutely love these types of patterns because you get more than one pattern in an envelope, and you can use each one of these pieces to transition into fall. So for instance, if you want to use the camisole, it on days that is a little bit warmer throughout the fall, you can just wear the camisole. However, if you still want to wear that camisole, but it gets a little bit nippy, then you can put your jacket on top of that, or your duster or whatever. So they're calling it a jacket, but I think it's more like a duster because of the type of fabrics that they call for, which are fabrics like challis and lightweight silk and things of that nature. So you're not using jacketing material, but it's a beautiful pattern nonetheless. You also have the bonus pant patterns, and I love these pants because it has a flat front waistband and an elasticated back, and you do have slant pockets as well. So it is a beautiful pattern for, I think, individuals who don't want to get into sewing patterns that have like zippers and buttons and things of that nature. You do have that elasticated waist in the back, but you have a flat front waistband, which will be a little bit more cleaner than having an elasticated waist going around your entire waist. So I love that pattern, and I would definitely be sewing the pants out of this pattern this year. I'm not quite for certain about not the camisole. I don't want to sew the camisole, but the duster. I'm not quite for certain about that one yet, but it is on my list. The Simplicity S9826 is another beautiful pattern. So come in sizes 4 to 12 and 12 to 20. You get a Mrs. Pants in 2 different lengths, a camisole, and also a cardigan. So again, I absolutely love these sets because they are great for transitioning, right? So you have your camisole, right, which can be a standalone piece. Again, if you want to wear that on days that still feel a little bit hotter, but throughout the evening or early in the morning, if you need a jacket or sweater or any type of cover up, this would also be a really great pattern to use because you can use that sweater pattern, and you can choose your fabric accordingly. If you want to choose a lightweight fabric, you can choose a lightweight sweater fabric. If you want to use a medium weight fabric, you can use a medium weight fabric. And so you can kind of control what kind of garment you get throughout the fall, because depending on where you live, you might not need anything like a mid-weight sweater weight fabric. You might need something like a lighter weight sweater fabric. And so you could definitely pick and choose. Again, you are working with knit for your sweater, but for your pants, for views A and B, you are working with bottom weight fabric. So this is not going to be a knit pattern for your bottom weight fabric. I absolutely love these pants. I have not had a chance to sew them, but I absolutely love, love, love the pants. So if you want a sweater, so this sweater here out of the S9826 is a little bit a semi-loose fit, right? But if you want a real loose fit, you can use the Simplicity S310, which is a Mimi G pattern that just came out. And again, this pattern includes a set. So you get a tank as well as a skirt. And the sweater on this is a little bit more looser. And so if you want something that's a little bit more looser, and then also this one is more at the high hip, whereas the previous Simplicity pattern is more at the waist, below the waistline. And so if you want something that drops a little bit below that waistline and it's more at the high hip and a little bit more baggy, I would definitely say go for the Simplicity S3010. Or there's also the Marlo cardigan or sweater by True Bias, which is also a fantastic sweater. And it looks very similar to the Simplicity S3010. So that pattern has been out for quite some time. And so if you have that pattern, you can definitely create the look with that as well. And then for a sweater pattern that you don't have to use any buttons or anything like that for, I think this Butterick pattern, the B6996, has promise. I definitely would say your fabric choice has to be spot on and gorgeous. Your styling has to be gorgeous as well. I think that they could have chosen a different type of fabric to showcase this, because I think it is a beautiful pattern. You could definitely sew this for the fall and use a lightweight sweater fabric and use that as a transitional piece as well. One of my absolute favorite patterns that I have sewn quite often is this Mccall's M6996. Now, last year it was, I think, out of print. And so I was recommending it to people, but I don't think that it was in print. But this year I looked on the website and it is in print. And I believe you can purchase it as both a PDF and a paper copy. And it is ranging in size from 4 to 14 and 16 to 26. And it is unlined. It has a band around the neckline. You can choose different banded necklines. And also you have just a long sleeve. Now the sleeve is a set-in sleeve, but you don't have any gathering or anything like that on the sleeve. And you also have a belt that you can sew with the pattern as well. So it's one of my favorite patterns. I've sewn it a couple times, and it is a really nice transitional piece that you can layer on top of camisoles or really lightweight t-shirts or anything like that. And so I really like that for this. I really like this pattern for that reason. Now, getting into top patterns, I would like to sew the Simplicity S3004. So this is a relatively new top pattern. And I'm going to go ahead and share with you a few of my ideas as well as how I would actually hack the pattern to give it a little bit more style. And I'll share with you how you can create different looks. So I've seen this beautiful satin wrap top by Zimmerman this year for fall of 2024, and it's absolutely darling. I love this top. I would definitely use this pattern to sew that kind of a top. As you can tell with that top, you have kind of what looks like a shawl collar that goes around the neckline. It would be so easy to create a shawl collar to attach to the neckline of this Simplicity pattern. And instead of actually putting a peplum at the bottom of the top, I would actually put ties on the lower portion of the top on both the left and the right and do like a wrap style instead of an actual peplum. And definitely I would gather the lower waist, because as you can see here, the waist is supposed to be gathered and a peplum is supposed to be put on to that. Now, if it's not one piece, which I'm guessing is not going to be one piece, I would definitely omit the peplum portion of it, gather the lower edge and put a band on the lower edge instead of the peplum and use it as a wrap top and create something similar to this Zimmerman top. I have other tops that I have pinned on Pinterest that is also really gorgeous. And I think that it would lend, those different top patterns would be really great to create using this Simplicity pattern. So again, this is the Simplicity S3004. It is an easy to sew top that have the neckline, elastic at the waistline, and a flared hem. View A top has sleeveless armholes and a finished bias binding. View B has long sleeves with cuffs, and View C has a flutter sleeve. So I do love the variation, the long variation with the cuff, because you have that beautiful button detail on the lower end of the cuff. But you can also sew the flutter sleeve as well if you want to sew the flutter sleeve if it's too hot where you are. But I think that this would be a really great transitional piece as well, especially if you use the longer sleeves in a lightweight or a sheer type fabric. Next is the Simplicity S3002. You can purchase this in sizes 10 to 18, 20W to 28W, 30W to 38W, and it's a button front blouse top. I love, love, love this top. I love that we have different sections or panels that you're sewing. That's always going to give you a really beautiful, clean look, and also it will prevent you from having to do too much in the way of a full bust adjustment. I do think that this would be so much easier to tailor to your body, and you would be less likely to need to do a full bust adjustment. I love the different sleeve variations. I love that you have a collar and collar stand. It's button front with a button placket. I absolutely love this, and you can definitely use a lightweight voile fabric and use it to transition into fall, or you can use a challis fabric as well. Challis is known to be light in weight. You can do a light to medium weight challis, and it won't be so hot. And I definitely would love to make this for fall this year. Next is the Simplicity S9707. This is a pattern that I was supposed to sew this summer. I had it on my summer sewing plans, and I did not get around to it. So I definitely want to get around to sewing it this fall. And I have a beautiful fall brown and black zebra print fabric that I want to use, and I hope to make this into a dress instead of a top. You have different options in terms of sizes. You can select the 4 to 12, the 12 to 20. It even have, you can even purchase a plus size pattern, which is the 20W to 28W and the 28 and the 30W to 38W. So you do have some options with this as well. And I love that they have the plus size pattern for this. Next, I love the Burda 5775 as a transitional piece as well. This came out in Burda's fall collection, and I have been trying my hand at so many different button tops. This one is on my list. I think that this would be a relatively easy sewing pattern to use and to also transition any type of button front tops. I think if you use a voile or a voile type fabric, you can definitely use those to transition into the fall if you are looking for button up tops. And speaking of button up tops, I just made a bunch of button up tops with the Vogue V2031. So that's also on this list. And I'll share with you a few of the different variations that I have made. You can make a short sleeve. You can make a long sleeve with a cuff. You can omit the cuff. You can put elastic in the lower edge of the sleeve if you want to, and you don't want to deal with the cuff. You can use the collar band without the collar, or you can use the collar band and the collar. It's a front button top, so it's a button down top, and you do have a placket that you are attaching to it. I did have to do a full bust adjustment with this one, so just be careful of that. If you are a CD cup or higher, you may need to do a full bust adjustment. I did a pattern review, and if you want to watch that pattern review, you can watch it. You can just go ahead and watch my commentary in my video on that, and you can learn more about what you can do to achieve the look that I have achieved with that pattern. In terms of pant patterns, we're going to go ahead and circle back around to the Simplicity S9826. So again, I love that we have this as a collection. You can definitely sew these pant patterns. You have a longer pant as well as a capri pant. You can probably even get away with doing a longer pair of shorts, maybe knee-length shorts with this as well. This is a little bit more on the intermediate to advanced side because you do have a zipper closure and I think a button detail as well. And you will be sewing a waistband to it. And I think you are also using a bar and hook closure as well. So you have a little bit more details than the Butterick pattern that just has the flat front waistband and elasticated back. However, these I think would be so stylish and so cute to sew and use as a transitional piece. I think also the Vogue V2014 is in that same category. You can definitely use that as a transitional piece as well. As you can see, you have both pants and shorts. And the shorts you can make a little bit longer. Again, you can make them knee length, or you can just do the longer pair of slacks. What I like about the Vogue V2014 versus the Simplicity S9826 is that the Vogue is a little bit more of a regular fit instead of having like your wide leg. This is more of a regular fit, and so you will get a closer fit instead of a wider leg. And so if you want a wide leg, I would say go with the Simplicity pattern. But if you want a regular fit or a slim fitting pair of pants, definitely the Vogue pattern would be an option. The Vogue pattern comes in sizes 8 to 16 and 18 to 26. And then my favorite sewing pattern that I have sewn a couple of times is the Simplicity S9376. This pattern, you also have a flat front waistband with an elasticated back, and you also have slanted pockets. You have the option of doing like a banded cuff at the lower edge of one of the pant legs, and then you also have another option where you can put elastic in the lower edge of the pant leg as well. And so you do have some options. I absolutely love this pattern, and I also have a pattern review on the channel of this as well. I'll locate it and put it in the description box below. Again, circling back around to that Butterick pattern, the B7001, kind of similar to the Simplicity pattern. You don't have as many options. It's just a regular straight leg fit, flat front waistband, and an elasticated back with slanted pockets. Very simple, very easy if you don't want to work with too many pieces. And so that would also be a really great option. In terms of skirt patterns, I am currently working on the Simplicity S9894. It's a Mimi G pattern, and I've already made 3 variations, and I'm finishing up with my final 2, and then I'll give my pattern review of this. I absolutely love this pattern. It's definitely a great wardrobe staple as well as a transitional piece. You can sew it in summer, spring, winter, or fall. So I absolutely love this pattern. It's a really fun pattern to sew. It comes in sizes 10 to 18 and 20W to 28W. We're going to take a step back because I forgot one of the pant patterns before we go forward with the rest of the skirt patterns. The Mimi G 3036. So Simplicity 3036. This is a new pattern that was just released for Simplicity Fall. And it comes in sizes 8 to 16 and 18 to 26. Obviously, I don't have this pattern and I haven't sewn this pattern yet, but this looked like a really great jogger pant pattern here. I love, love, love this pattern. It's fully elasticated front and back. You have drawstrings. It is a little bit of a looser fit, semi-wide leg, slanted pocket. I think it's a beautiful pattern and worth giving a consideration if you love jogger pants. Now let's go forward with my skirt patterns and then we'll kind of wrap up the video here. So Vogue V2032 is more of a intermediate to an advanced pattern. You will be lining this. You do have various sections that you're sewing, including like a yoke on the back skirt, I believe, and then also a little bit on the front, I think. You also are going to be installing a zipper and also a button. You do have 2 different length options. You do have 2 different length options. You have a slightly below the knee variation, so not quite a mid length or a calf length, but it's kind of a below the knee length skirt and a maxi skirt, and you do have a slit in the front of the skirt as well. I think that this is really cute, and I would definitely love to sew this if you want to sew something a little bit more elegant. If you work in corporate America or any type of, or you frequent places that would require you to dress up a little bit, I think this would be a really fun pattern to use. It is, again, a lined skirt. The description says that it's semi-fitted through the hip and sits 1 inch below the waist. You have your fly front zipper, your side front pockets, back welt pockets, belt loops, front slit, and you have front and back pin tucks as well. So again, a little bit more detailed, but it's definitely worth looking into if you like those types of styles. Now, if you like that kind of a style, but you want to kind of omit some of the various features and you don't want to sew a lot, I would definitely say go with the new Look N6757. This is a skirt pattern that I've just sewn myself. This is an easy to sew pattern. You have 2 different patterns in one envelope. So you can do the sleeveless top, which is a knit top, which would also be really great as a transitional piece, especially if you are putting like one of those duster pieces or those types of pieces over top of this knit top. You can definitely do that as well. But the skirt is very similar to the Vogue pattern, with the exception you're not putting in welt pockets. So you do have slanted pockets on your left and right. You have a side zipper that's on the side seam. You also have a front and back waistband that is about 1 inch wide, I believe. And you also have that front slit in the front of the skirt as well. So if you want to make this over the Vogue pattern, I would definitely say that the new Look is a more easier option, and you can definitely sew that within a couple hours as well. The only drawback with this pattern is that it only comes in sizes 10 to 22, whereas with the Vogue pattern, it goes up to the size 26. So you could get the size 8 to 16 and 18 to 26. So you do get more sizes with the Vogue pattern than you get with the new Look pattern, but the new Look pattern is easier to sew. There's also the Vogue V1944. It comes in sizes 4 to 12 and 14 to 22. I think not just the skirt, but also the top can be used as a transitional piece as well. I do like the shorter sleeve over the cropped variation. So you can make the longer top that's not cropped with the longer sleeve and use that as a transitional piece as well. I love the skirt because it looks very simple and easy to sew. I have not sewn this pattern, but it looks very simple and easy to sew. And you can use lightweight fabric. So you can use lightweight silky type fabrics and probably even some lightweight ball fabrics or something that's really light in weight, so that you can use at the beginning of fall, and then as you're transitioning into the later end of fall, you can definitely sew something with a little bit more weight to it, like using a fabric that has a little bit more weight to it. So I do like that for that reason. If you have any recommendations, please share them in the comment section below. I am going to go ahead and share with you a few of my ideas of what I am sewing and also what I intend to sew this fall season. Okay, so let's start with these 3 patterns here. So I have this beautiful sweater knit fabric here, and can you believe I picked this up from my local Walmart? So just gorgeous fabric. I love this fabric. It's tan and black, and as you can see, it looks like a leopard print here, but I love this fabric here, and I have a little over 2 yards of that. And I was thinking about this pattern here, which is the S9826 that I was telling you all about, and I would use that to make this. Or I have the Marlo sweater by True Bias. Or this is one of my favorite patterns that I forgot to put on the list here, but it's the Mccall's M8247, and it's one of my favorite patterns. And I looked on the website, and it appears as though the pattern is not on the website. So I don't know if it's out of print or I don't know, but it's not coming up on the website. But if you can get a copy of this, I would say go for this. This is one of my favorite sewing patterns. I've made it a couple times, and I want to make it again. So I haven't decided which one of these patterns that I want to use for this lovely leopard sweater. Let me know, but I absolutely love this sweater knit fabric, and I want to make something with this fall. Next, I'm thinking about using this Simplicity S9707 pattern. So I've already cut the pattern out and I've made adjustments and stuff, but I just haven't gotten around to sewing it. And this is the fabric that I want to use for it. It's a beautiful tan and black zebra print fabric. I already washed it, as you can see. I just need to starch it and press it and cut the pattern piece out, and hopefully I'll get to that sometime soon, but I plan to do that for a fall transitional piece. And I want to use it as a duster slash dress. So I do want to lengthen it and have like a below the knee dress and like a cover up with it as well. Okay, so for these next three patterns, I'm a little bit torn, and so I don't know for certain which direction I want to go with these fabrics and patterns. But let me start with this fabric here and tell you what my original plan was. So I wanted to make this pattern here, which is the Simplicity S3002 with this. It's a beautiful floral fabric that I purchased from Mood Fabrics. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it's definitely a fall fabric. And I thought about using this pattern, but then after I thought about putting this pattern, the pieces together, I remembered that this here has a seam. You have panels here, and I don't know if I want to break up these floral designs here and if that would look good. So I might not go with that for that reason. So then I thought I could definitely make a duster with this, and also with this gorgeous linen fabric that I purchased from Joann, I could make this Mimi G Simplicity S9894 skirt. And those two would look really great together. Or I could just make a long duster or cover up or something with this to go with this. But I think that these two look absolutely gorgeous together. So I haven't quite decided what I want to do with this, but those are some ideas that I had for that. And then lastly, I've had this gorgeous fabric from Joann in my stash forever, about a year and a half, maybe 2 years now. This is something that came out a couple years ago in their fall collection, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a beautiful charmeuse fabric, and I thought about either using that for this gorgeous duster here, and maybe even doing either a close-fitting dress underneath, or either going with these black pants. Or I can use this top pattern here and go with my idea with the wrap around, putting ties at the end and wrapping around the bodice. I think that would be so cute with this as well. So I don't have very much of this. I think I have maybe 2.5 yards of this. So I don't have much to work with, but a duster or a top would look good with that. So that is my video. Again, if you have any recommendations of transitional sewing patterns to share with us, make sure you leave them in the comment section below. I hope to talk to you all in the next video. And until next time, stay creative, my friends. Bye.